Responding to popular demand on this channel, we found another old resurfaced video of Alastair Campbell when he was a mere journalist asking questions from the Prime Minister at the time, Margaret Thatcher. Oh, you're gonna want to watch this. Alastair Campbell, the king of the metropolitan liberal elite, the man who is now going around saying anything that any government says is just pure evil. But apparently the government he served under Tony Blair was the most compassionate government ever. They did nothing wrong. So we have an old video, this is funny, of Alastair Campbell when he was a journo in 1990 asking questions from Margaret Thatcher. And apparently there was a book that came out. He didn't actually read the book. He read an article or a headline about the book. So he decided to ask Maggie about the book without reading it. And it completely backfired because Margaret Thatcher decided to school him and educate him on how one should behave as a journalist and, of course, as a politician.
Alastair Campbell from the Daily Mirror. Prime Minister, can I ask you a reaction to a story in today's Financial Times arising from...
Would you start again? My reaction to what?
Your reaction to a story in today's Financial Times arising from Sir Alan Walter's book, which states that he is planning to present his alternative to the hard ECU and that it will be called the Thatcher Standard based on world commodity prices. I wondered if that was unfair purloining of your name.
I haven't, in fact, seen today's Financial Times. I haven't read Sir Alan Walter's book. I am sure that it will be very interesting, and I would advise you to read it too.
Wait for it.
It is a good thing to read something before you comment on it, usually.
Now, that was a time when we used to have actual political leaders, whether one would agree or disagree with Margaret Thatcher's policies in the 80s. Most people could actually admit that that was a time when leaders, firstly, used to answer questions properly. Secondly, they had their own conviction. Thirdly, they had some level of intelligence compared to now. Everybody is just a basic puppet to their own PR team and communications officers. It's absolutely embarrassing. And yeah, it was a good thing to educate someone like a young Alastair Campbell at the time that if you're gonna attack me using a book or some sort of newspaper headline, it's probably best if you read it first. It might actually help you rather than going to the Financial Times, reading a headline about it, and obviously reading the article saying, so there's an article about a book that I haven't actually read, so I'm gonna use that against a politician. I don't even know what that book was about. That's not really the point of this. It's about the fact that journalists should really do their homework before pretending that politicians like Margaret Thatcher haven't done their homework. If it was important enough, she would have known about it. Now, it is important to also talk about what's going to happen in the current climate, because the mainstream media has completely been undermined by the mainstream media. The press right now, the journalists, we have this protectionist closed market of the Westminster lobby. So all the existing newspapers from Financial Times to the Telegraph to the Mirror, the Guardian, and it is a closed market. You cannot enter it, even if you're an independent new media person. That has to change. And people like me and our channel and many others, Michael Heaver has a good YouTube channel as well, Jeff Taylor and many others, we have to try together to make sure that we actually increase the credibility of new media. Times have changed. People don't watch TV anymore. People don't even read the newspapers anymore because there are other ways to get your information through new media. Now, of course, there's also a problem with having so many options and sources that some places, some websites, for example, and channels would give you fake news. But the important thing is, now we're in a numbers game. We might accidentally find some sort of news outlet and new media outlet, independent, that is talking nonsense. But there are also others that could counter it. And that's the whole point of access to information. We actually have more access to information now than ever before, which means you might, face some fake news, but there are also other channels that would debunk those claims. So it's important to actually promote new media in this current climate. And if we really want to hold the power to account and the establishment, that's the best way to do it. Because right now, the mainstream media, the legacy media, are now part of the establishment. They used to hold the power to account, but they're now promoting what the establishment is doing. They're no longer anti-establishment. Let me know what you think. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.